How are we going? So in this trainer tip video, we're going to look at how we get a horse to stand at the mounting block. Before I start looking at teaching my horses to stand at the mounting block or stand to be mounted, the first thing I want to look at is my groundwork. I've worked with this horse extensively on the ground. I've got really good control of him, going through my backup exercise, my parking exercises, my driving exercises, and if you haven't seen any of those, then I suggest that's where you start, because until we have a good ability to direct that horse on the ground with accuracy, confronting any problems or dealing with any problems can be difficult. Like anything, any sort of issue that I'm dealing with, a lot of times what's causing that horse to not want to do the thing you'd like him to do is because that thing is uncomfortable for him, and not doing it is more comfortable for him. So he doesn't want to be near something scary because it's uncomfortable. Leaving that thing and being somewhere else is more comfortable. Okay, so what we need to do is kind of turn that on its head. Mounting should be the comfortable thing, and not being mounted should be where the horse is having to work. Okay, so let's go through my three-stage mounting program. So when I'm working here, I'm standing on this mounting block and working from this mounting block. At all times, I'm going to try and remain on this mounting block. And I do this, and I'm going to work with this horse in 3 steps. The first step is I'd like to get him to where he's parallel to me. He's parallel to me here, and I'm slightly in front of his head. The second stage I'd like to get to is to where he's parallel to me and I'm between his head and his shoulder. And the third stage I'd like to get to is to where I'm lined up by the stirrup in a position where I can now get on him. Okay. Now, if this horse was to move around here, and he can be a little fidgety sometimes, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my driving exercise and my change of direction on the driving exercise, and I'm going to reposition him here back at stage 1. So we get back to a point where he's again parallel to me and I'm in front of his head. And again, I'm then going to just bring him forward 1 step at a time. So I'm going to ask him to come forwards, reward him for that, ask him to come forwards, reward him for that, ask him forwards. So now that I'm stood between his head and his shoulder, and again and that's my stage 2, I might let him dwell there a little. Once he's been there for a minute or 2, again I'm going to see if I can bring him forward to a point where I could get on him. Once we can consistently do that, I'll start to act like I'm going to climb on, moving that saddle horn around here, leaning over. I might even use my flag here to sort of challenge him to see whether he'd stay, rubbing him with that, get to where I can lean over and play with the offside stirrup, doing anything I can think of just to check him out. If he's going to leave, I would sooner he left now than when I'm sort of halfway on. I want to sort of almost challenge him to see what he's able to accept, whether he's able to accept me doing all those things without feeling like he has to leave. I want to rock on that saddle horn, or if I was in English saddle, just on the pommel of the saddle, and get him to a point there where he's comfortable with all those things. Once I'm getting on him, I'm going to put my foot in the stirrup and get halfway on. If he doesn't move, I'm climbing all the way on. The next thing I want to do is, once I'm on this horse, I'm not just going to walk straight off. I'd like to get to where I climb on and he stands there for at least 30 seconds to a minute. I don't want him anticipating me climbing on and then him just leaving immediately. Okay, so that's my 3-stage mounting program. Start with them parallel to me, so I'm in front of their head. Bring them up a step at a time till I'm in step 2, between their head and their shoulder. And finally stage 3, where I move them so then I'm then level with that stirrup hind at the mounting block and I can climb on. If at any point they deviate from that process, I'm sending them back to the start and going through it again. Once on, I'm making sure that I sit here for at least a minute to get them comfortable with the fact that when we climb on, we're not necessarily going anywhere straight off the bat. Okay, well, good luck with that, and I hope you get on well with it.